Life has a funny way of throwing us into rough water sometimes, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We all face those moments.
Yeah, when the current just feels, well, too strong.
Uncertainty, difficulty. It's part of being human, really.
And that's precisely what we want to dive into today.
Mm.
How do we navigate those turbulent times? How do we keep our head above water, maintain a positive outlook, even when things feel like they're spiraling?
Exactly. And we're going to explore some really tangible strategies, practical things people can actually do to cultivate that sense of positivity, no matter what storms are brewing outside.
Like building your inner raft. I like that analogy.
Yeah, something like that. Tools for resilience.
These are actionable steps, things you can try to fundamentally shift how you engage with challenging situations.
So where do we start?
Okay, let's get into it. I think the crucial first step, maybe the most important one, is acknowledging the downpour, accepting reality.
Precisely. This isn't about pretending it's sunny when it's clearly raining.
Right. Or just wishing it away. That doesn't work.
It's about accepting the present situation for what it is. Because, positivity isn't really about denying reality.
What is it then?
It's about choosing your response to that reality.
Okay, that's a key distinction. Because when things go wrong, a setback at work, a personal disappointment, that first hit of stress or sadness.
Oh, that's completely natural. Totally human.
It's okay to feel that stuff.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. While we can't always control what happens to us,
We often can't, no.
we do have this remarkable capacity to influence what happens within us, our internal state.
And that's where acceptance comes in. That's its power.
I believe so. It's that initial moment, maybe just taking a breath and saying, okay, this is it. This is where things stand right now.
You don't have to like it.
Not at all, but just acknowledging it without fighting it immediately.
What does that actually do, though? Why is that helpful?
Well, what's really happening is you're dismantling that inner resistance. When you start pushing against what is...
You free up energy.
Exactly. You free up all this mental energy. So instead of being consumed by the struggle against reality, you create space. Space for clarity, for finding strength, maybe even seeing a solution you missed before.
It's like stopping the thrashing in the water for a second, just to get your bearings.
That's a great way to put it. And listeners can try this. Just take a deep breath right now. Think of a challenge you're facing.
Okay.
And just mentally acknowledge it. This is here. Without judgment, without trying to fix it instantly.
Just letting it be for a moment.
Yeah. That quiet acknowledgement, that initial acceptance, well, that becomes the foundation, the solid ground you need to build a more positive way forward.
Okay, so acceptance is the foundation. Where do we go from there?
Well, once we've kind of anchored ourselves in acceptance, the next really powerful shift involves where we choose to direct our mental focus, our attention.
Okay. This one really clicks for me. I was thinking about, you planned this amazing picnic, right? Everything's ready. And then, boom, rain. Total downpour.
Yeah.
Your first thought is probably, frustration. Maybe even anger.
Understandable. Plans ruined, expectations unmet. It's jarring.
But then you have this choice, don't you? You could sit there and just fume about the ruined plans.
Stew in it.
Yeah. Or you could consciously, pivot, say, okay, well, rain means a cozy afternoon inside. Maybe a board game, good company.
Perfect example. Same external situation, the rain, but a completely different internal experience based on where you put your focus.
That's cognitive reframing, isn't it? Yeah. Intentionally directing your thoughts.
Exactly that. And instead of getting stuck in that why me loop, why is this happening to me?
Which is so easy to fall into.
It is. A much more empowering question, a more constructive one is, okay, what could this be teaching me? Or what can I learn from this?
I really like that shift. It takes it from feeling like an attack.
Yeah, like you're a victim of circumstances.
To seeing it as, well, maybe there's something for me here. A lesson, a different perspective.
Precisely. Because almost every situation, even the ones we label bad initially, holds some kind of potential lesson.
Like what?
Well, it might be about building resilience, finding strength you didn't know you had, or gaining some wisdom. Or sometimes, like in your rain example, it's just forcing you to slow down.
Right. Appreciate a different kind of pace.
Yeah. And it's so true that what we focus on tends to grow, doesn't it? Like putting a magnifying glass on something.
Definitely. If you keep replaying the negative bits over and over,
that negativity just takes over your whole mental landscape. It becomes huge.
Whereas if you consciously, deliberately look for the potential opportunity, or the lesson, even if it's small.
That's where the shift happens. That's where your overall outlook starts to change, to take root in something more positive. But it does require that deliberate choice. You have to actively redirect that mental energy.
Absolutely. It's an active process. And speaking of deliberate choices that have big payoffs, let's talk about gratitude. Daily gratitude.
Ah, yes. It sounds almost too simple sometimes, doesn't it?
It really does. But the effects can be surprisingly profound.
Oh, incredibly so. Regularly taking a moment to acknowledge what we appreciate. It's not just like a nice thought. It genuinely impacts our well-being.
So how do you practice it effectively?
Well, a really simple, effective habit is just listing 3 things you're thankful for, mentally, or write them down. Each morning, maybe each evening.
Just 3 things.
Just 3. And the amazing part is, even when things are really genuinely tough.
Yeah, when it feels like nothing is going right.
Even then, there's usually something. It might be super basic, like having a roof over your head or a warm bed.
Or maybe someone said something kind.
Exactly. Or even just the fact that you're breathing. The simple act of being alive.
So focusing on those small things matters.
Immensely. Because what it does, subtly, is it starts to rewire your brain. You begin to notice abundance more than scarcity.
Ah, interesting.
By intentionally focusing on what you do have, even the everyday stuff, those ordinary moments start to feel like, well, like blessings. It brings light, even when things feel pretty dark.
And is there a way to use this like in the moment when negativity hits?
Yes, absolutely. A great little technique is when you feel that wave of negativity, just pause. Right then and there.
Okay.
And finish the sentence in your head. Right now, I'm thankful for.
Oh, I like that. It forces you to scan for something positive right now.
Exactly. It interrupts that negative spiral. It brings you back to the present moment and helps you find a little bit of balance, even if it's just for a second.
That's a fantastic tool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got acceptance, shifting focus, gratitude. What about what's going on inside our heads, our internal chatter?
Ah, yes. Self-talk. This is huge and something I think many of us don't pay enough attention to. That constant dialogue we have with ourselves.
That little voice.
That little voice. And it's really worth taking a moment, honestly, to think about your inner voice. Like, what's its usual tone?
Is it kind? Supportive? Like a good friend?
Or is it often critical? Harsh, putting you down?
Because the way we talk to ourselves day in and day out has this enormous impact, doesn't it, on our mindset, our confidence?
Absolutely. It shapes how we feel and how we handle challenges. It's like we're constantly feeding ourselves instructions or beliefs.
So if that inner commentary is always negative, I can't do this, I'll probably mess up, this is too hard.
Well, our minds tend to just accept those statements as fact. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy sometimes. That kind of talk just eats away at your resilience.
But you can change it. You can flip the script.
You absolutely can. It takes conscious effort. But yes, start replacing those harsh criticisms with more supportive phrases.
Like instead of, I can't handle this.
Maybe something like, okay, this is difficult, definitely, but I am strong enough to navigate it. Or, I have handled tough things before.
It feels different even just saying it. It shifts the energy.
It really does. It builds that inner fortitude. And things like affirmations can be really helpful tools here.
Right. Affirmations. Those positive statements.
Simple, positive statements you repeat intentionally. Things like, I choose peace. Or, I trust that things are unfolding for my good, even if it doesn't feel like it right now.
I am capable and calm.
Exactly. Things like that. Now, it might feel a bit awkward or unnatural at first,
It can feel forced.
It can, but sticking with it, consistently using these positive affirmations can genuinely start to reshape those internal narratives over time.
So it's about consciously choosing to be your own, biggest supporter, your own cheerleader.
That's a perfect way to put it. Speak life to yourself, encourage yourself. And, speaking of influences, it's not just our internal voice. The external influences matter too. The company we keep.
Ah, yes. Who you surround yourself with, that makes a huge difference.
It really does. There's this idea that energy, positive or negative, is, contagious.
It definitely feels that way sometimes. If you're constantly around people who are complaining or just generally pessimistic,
it makes it so much harder to maintain your own positive outlook, doesn't it? It can really drag you down.
So it's important to be mindful of that.
Very. Consciously choosing to spend more time with people who are uplifting, hopeful, people who generally have a more positive take on things.
It's not about cutting off everyone who has a bad day, obviously.
Of course not. It's about the overall balance. But constant exposure to negativity does make it harder work to stay positive yourself.
So protecting your peace is actually really important.
Vital. It's okay to, step back from conversations that just drain you, to set boundaries around gossip or constant drama.
Choose environments that feel good, that feel more optimistic.
Exactly. And this idea extends beyond just people, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, think about what we consume. The media we watch, the news we read, the stuff we scroll through online.
Ah, right. That influences our mood too. A lot.
Massively.
Yeah.
So being discerning about what you let into your mental space is just as important as choosing your friends wisely.
Intentionally choosing content that nourishes a positive mindset.
Yeah.
Rather than just fueling anxiety or anger.
Precisely. It's all part of cultivating that resilient, positive inner state. You're tending your mental garden, so to speak.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, sometimes it feels like trying to do all these things except focus, be grateful, talk positively, it still feels overwhelming.
Yes. And that leads us to another important aspect. Sometimes maintaining positivity isn't about doing more, but about letting go, about embracing a sense of faith or trust.
Letting go of what?
Letting go of the need to control everything, recognizing that, we just don't have control over every single outcome.
That's hard for a lot of us. We like to feel in control.
We do, but sometimes the most positive and actually the most empowering step is to release that tight grip, to surrender a little.
To surrender to what?
It could be trusting in a larger process, life's rhythm, maybe a higher power if that resonates, the universe, whatever you want to call it.
Just trusting that things will work out somehow.
Or perhaps more accurately, trusting that even if the path isn't clear right now, there is guidance, that things are unfolding even if you can't see the full picture yet.
That requires faith then.
It does, and having a little touchstone phrase or mantra can be incredibly comforting during those really difficult times.
Like what kind of phrase?
Something simple you can repeat to yourself, like, this too shall pass. That's a classic for a reason.
It reminds you it's temporary.
Exactly. Or maybe, I am held, I am guided, or I trust the journey. Something that grounds you in that sense of trust when things feel chaotic.
And this kind of faith, it's not necessarily about knowing exactly how things will turn out.
Not at all. It's less about knowing the future and more about having this deep-seated belief in your own ability to navigate whatever comes.
A trust in yourself and maybe a trust in life itself.
Precisely. An inner knowing that you can handle it, even when you don't know how yet.
Okay. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have. So just to kind of bring these threads together, we've talked about several key ways to cultivate positivity, especially when things feel uncertain.
Right. We started with acceptance, acknowledging reality without resistance.
Then shifting your focus, consciously choosing what you pay attention to, looking for the lessons.
And the simple power of daily gratitude, finding things to appreciate even in hardship.
Don't forget positive self-talk. Changing that inner dialogue to be more supportive.
Crucial. And surrounding yourself wisely, choosing uplifting connections and positive inputs.
And finally, that element of faith and trust, letting go of control and believing in the process and your own strength.
It's quite a toolkit.
It is. And maybe the most important thing to remember is that this isn't about achieving some state of perfect nonstop happiness.
Right. It's not about pretending problems don't exist.
Not at all. It's an ongoing practice. It's about the small conscious choices you make, moment by moment, day by day.
And every choice you make that leans towards, light, towards a more positive view, it adds up.
It really does. It contributes to building a brighter, more resilient inner world for yourself.
That's a really encouraging thought to end on.
Absolutely. And perhaps for everyone listening, just take a moment now. Think about which one of these ideas resonated most with you today.
Acceptance, focus, gratitude, self-talk, connections, trust.
Yeah. Just pick one and maybe think about one small way you could practice it, later today or tomorrow.
A practical step to start exploring it further.
Exactly, because that's how change happens, one small step at a time.